This is going to be your weekly tarot and oracle forecast. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. We're going to take a look at the energies for the upcoming week, break it down day by day, and let you know how to navigate. So as I'm filming this, it is Sunday morning. The sun is shining. We're on the brink of a pretty major full moon partial lunar eclipse in Pisces, and I'm really curious to know how you are feeling. Now on Monday night at 6 p.m. I am doing a full moon Zoom, which is a 2-hour general collective reading. It will have the recording provided if you'd like to watch later, and it does include a personalized moon reading that will bring you to the next new moon, which happens to be a solar eclipse. So this reading that you're going to receive from that full moon Zoom is going to be all about eclipse energy. So if you're wondering what's going on in your world right now, you want to navigate those energies, we can look into that together. But before we get into anything about the full moon or the lunar eclipse, we have to address the emotions running high. We've got to talk about the sleep patterns lately. Many of you have been waking up through the night. There's been trouble sleeping in general, you know, crazy dreams. If you've had very, very vivid dreams and you're trying to make sense of them, I think a lot of people are getting messages from every direction. The word I used the other day was bombarded, you know, signs, synchronicities, messages of whatever kind. And it's been interesting. What other word could I use really, other than the fact that it's a cluster of so many different things happening at once? And I would attribute all that to the fact that we're going through a major change. We're transforming. This is all about the next couple of years of our lives, because this Pisces energy is going to stick with us, as in the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. So the mutable signs are definitely going to be feeling it this full moon. Mutable signs would be Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius. We're all going to feel it, but maybe those signs a little bit more than others, right? So let's take some overall themes and messages for this week. I'm going to use these moon oracle cards to connect to the moon energy. And we have here a passage. I am not surprised. I've seen this card actually quite a bit in the last few days. New cycle, transitioning, discovery, and perspective. A lot of us are changing our perspective. We have to. We're being forced to. If we don't adjust ourselves right now and go with the flow or go with the shift, we're going to get a lot of resistance. And the last thing we want is to be forced into making major changes, because those tower moments are not exactly friendly or easy. So let's take a look at this oracle deck here to see what are the messages for the week. And we have here, angels are watching over you. And I love this. 1 + 4 is a 5. Today's actually the 15th as I'm filming this, September 15th. 5s mean big changes ahead. Supported, protected, loved, and encouraged. So now's the time to make those moves. You have safe passage and see where it takes you. Let's take a look at the Moonology cards just to see what else we need to know. And we have here, look at that, a new start is coming. It does say new moon. That new moon is coming in a couple weeks. Like I said, it's a solar eclipse. So eclipse season is here, and new things are coming. Not going to be easy, but at the same time, it's for our well-being. Remember, these things happen for us, not to us. So I'm going to put these cards over to the side. We may come back to them a little bit later if there are some connections that we see in other cards. But before I get into the cards, I wanted to mention that I'm going to be using these 4 agreement cards. Now, obviously, it's based on the famous book, The 4 Agreements. And I just thought these would be really appropriate for the week because, well, we need to remind ourselves about these agreements. You know, if you were to look how beautiful the imagery on this card, you know, like, don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Don't take things personally. You know, these are really great messages, okay? Be impeccable with your words. So we're going to be using these cards to see what are the general themes and messages. Now let's take a look at Monday. Monday is the energy right leading up to the eclipse. This is the night we're doing our full moon Zoom. And what did we get? Express your love. Be impeccable with your word. Are you being clear? Excuse me, as I'm trying to clear my throat here. Boy, oh boy. Pardon me. Throat chakra, people. Are you expressing yourself? Are you speaking clearly? Are you speaking up? Are you living your authentic truth? Very important. Be impeccable with your word. Express your love. Now, this could be love vibes. This could be relationship. This could just be you expressing self-love, you know? All right, let's take a look at Tuesday. Now, actually, maybe let's read what's on the back of the card. Impeccability of the word can be measured by your level of self-love. If you love yourself, you will express that love in your interactions with others, and that action will produce a like reaction. There you go. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a look at Tuesday. And we have here, create a beautiful dream. You know, obviously we have a theme right away. Be impeccable with your word, you know, speaking clearly, not sitting on the fence anymore. Because if we're sitting on the fence, how can the universe deliver? If we're not being specific, how can anything come to us? You know, sometimes we like to keep ourselves in a safety zone, you know, or a comfort zone by, you know, covering ourselves from every angle. But when we're doing that, we're not really being specific. So creating a beautiful dream is about manifestation, putting your intentions out there. The card says, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. Impeccability of the word only creates beauty, love, and heaven on earth. Wow. Okay. So that's kind of interesting because it reminds me of a story when I was going through my worst of my worst, you know, when I was, you know, ending my marriage. I was having a spiritual awakening, or reawakening as I call it. Life was changing like absolutely at warp speed. And I remember times when I almost like wished for something that I really didn't want. It's like, be careful what you wish for. And I got it, you know, I got it in one of the worst ways. And it's always taught me the lesson that your words mean something. You know, we manifest every day of our life. We have been manifesting since the day we've been born. Whatever we say, whatever you think, whatever we feel, whatever we write down, right? That's spelling. So we've got to be very careful. If we're trying to create a beautiful dream, then we have to be very mindful of our thoughts, our feelings, our words, and our actions. So let's see what else we need to know here for Wednesday. We have here, be yourself around others. Okay, this is another major theme that's been coming up in my sessions lately with clients, and that is authenticity. Are you living your authentic truth? Are you speaking your truth? You know, a lot of the times we have a mask, and it's hard to let other people in, or that mask comes from a very young age where we were very misunderstood, and it was easier just to live up to an expectation of how other people viewed us versus actually being ourselves. And I talk about this all the time. As a former high school teacher of 19 years, I saw when students were attempting, you know, to gain attention through positive or negative means. It really didn't matter which one, because they were looking for something, looking for a validation, looking for someone to hear them, to see them, you know? And if you identify with that from a young age, you know that sometimes it can be very hard to be yourself, because other people just may judge you based on old stories or situations that aren't even true, you know, and they're definitely not true now, many years later. But, you know, don't make assumptions. Exactly. We never know what someone's going through. Now, this card does say the biggest assumption that humans make is that everyone sees life the way we do. We assume that others think the way we think, feel the way we feel, judge the way we judge, and abuse the way we abuse. We are afraid to be ourselves around others because we think others will judge us, victimize us, abuse us, and blame us as we do ourselves. And so therefore, all we can do is be ourselves. If people are with us, they're with us. If they're not, they're not. And at a certain point, we have to learn to be okay with that, okay? So let's see what's going on for Thursday. And we have here, relinquish self-importance. Yeah, don't take anything personally. Okay, personal importance or taking things personally is the maximum expression of selfishness, because we make the assumption that everything is about me. You know, that's actually a really good point. You may have noticed that lately I've been making videos that say, stop taking it personally when someone doesn't have the capacity, you know, or someone that ghosts, you know what I mean? The feeling of being abandoned or ghosted, or, you know, saying mean things to us, you know, out of self-preservation, not that I'm excusing it, can be really difficult because we internalize the entire process. You know, why am I not good enough? Why did they say this to me? Why did they do this to me? And as I was saying earlier, it's not a matter of things happening to us, it's also happening for us. If somebody is showing you poor behavior, you know, or showing you that they don't have the capacity, it's important to listen to that and to acknowledge it, you know, to know that everybody's battling something different, right? But just because you can understand something does not mean that you have to allow it or accept it into your own life. So again, a lot of the times it's not about us, but it does bring up old wounds from earlier years in our life, right? Okay, so let's take a look at Friday. What do we need to know about Friday? And we have here, be impeccable with your word. Again, speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Well, say what you mean what you say. Express yourself honestly and authentically. You know, very important. Okay, let's take a look at Saturday. And we have here, be impeccable with your word. Again, this is all about communication. Okay, realize the power of your world. Your word, of your word. It looked like world, but you know what? Of your own world, of your word. I get it. No mistakes, right? Okay, your word is the power that you have to create. It is a gift that comes directly from God. You know, realize the power of your word. Are you true to your word? Do you take it seriously? You know, when I was a child, my father really instilled in me the importance of giving my word. You know, I stay true to that. I always say with all of you in this beautiful online family that I can't tell you to do something that I wouldn't do myself, or I wouldn't, you know, talk about something that I haven't been through personally. I know where you've been on your journey because I've been there too, and we're lifelong learners and we're always healing. That will never stop, right? But you have to be impeccable with your word. You've got to make sure that you're true to yourself. Now, naturally, we are humans and we do make mistakes, and that's okay. You know what I always say? Be a Roomba vacuum. What does that vacuum do? It spins around the room, it hits the wall and redirects itself. You can't worry about any judgments or making a mistake because we're human. Now let's take a look at Sunday. And we have here, always do your best. Love and nurture your body. There you go. Your own body is a manifestation of God. And if you honor your body, everything will change for you. Practice giving love to every part of your body. This will plant seeds of love in your mind. And when they grow, you will love, honor, and respect your body immensely. This might be for someone who is thinking about the food that they eat, the exercise that they do, the self-care. You know, I'm very big on salt baths. That is my escape. That is how I love to heal my body, excuse me, heal my mind. I'm also more aware of movement in my body. You know, I work from home. I'm sitting very often when I'm filming or I'm doing sessions. It's important to find the balance in my day-to-day, you know, with my physical body and my mental and my spiritual, right? So I'm sure a lot of you can identify with that. So love and nurture your body in whatever way that is for you. Now let's take a look at a sneak peek for the following week. And we have here, let's see, again, be impeccable with your words. Seek to know the truth. Truth is very subjective. I just want to remind everybody. However, you know, we're talking about authenticity, right? When you hear an opinion and believe it, you make an agreement and it becomes part of your belief system. The only thing that can break this agreement is to make a new one based on truth. Only the truth has the power to set you free. So the way I look at it is like this. How do we learn truth? We learn by doing. We learn by checking our work. And I've said this many times in my videos before. And that is, we may know something in the moment. We may get a download. We may have an epiphany. Spirit or God or source, whatever term you use, may tell you something. And that's wonderful. And in that moment, you believe it to absolutely be the truth. However, days go on and you have experience and you learn. And you might realize that something you thought was something, maybe something else. And that's okay. It's allowed to be. It's allowed to grow. It's allowed to change because energy is fluid, right? So we don't want to stay stuck in one truth. We have to check our work. And I always use the analogy of a math exam. If I go to my math teacher and I say, here's the answer to question number 1, and I show no work, the teacher's going to say to me, how did you get to that answer? It may be right. It may not be. But I do need to show my work. It's a journey. It's a process. And so it's important to always check your work because sometimes you may go along and realize that you missed a step or you inputted something incorrectly. And it's always good to know where you made the mistake. There's no judgment on that. There's no shame in that. But that's how we learn, right? So very important that we are checking our work as we go. Now, let's take a look at the tarot and see what else we need to know here. This may be a little bit of a longer reading today, but hopefully this is giving you some great information for the eclipse energy over the next couple of weeks. Now, okay, be impeccable with your word, express your love. What do we need to know about that? The King of Pentacles, it's a long journey, a very abundant one. This is earth energy. It's grounded, it's stable, but it is slow. And maybe this is a slow building energy of expression. Maybe it's been a long time coming. Maybe you're getting better at being more expressive. So creating a beautiful dream. Let's see the manifestation here. 6 of Pentacles, equal giving and receiving in balance. It's also investment of yourself, your time, your money, whatever it is. But there should be some sort of reciprocation there. We don't want it to be one-sided. This is the issue. How can we create a beautiful dream if we're overgiving, overdoing, and problem solving for everyone else? This is where we get the issues, right? So we have to find balance. And when we find balance, we can create such beautiful things. And it may not even be about relationships with other people. It's balance within ourselves. I mean, we all hold masculine and feminine energies. Yes, we need to do things and we need to problem solve and we need to make moves. But that's for our personal growth and evolution, right? We're not there to do this for everyone else. On the flip side, in our own feminine energy, we have to know how to receive, which is very difficult for people. I help people with this every day, how to be more in that receiving mode where you're leaning back, you're trusting your intuition, you're trusting the process, which means you're living your life, doing what you've got to do and allowing things to unfold naturally. You're not trying to take the reins and force everything to happen. The more you try to force something, the more it goes completely the other direction. So be yourself around others, being your authentic self. There is the King of Cups. King of Cups is all about being in tune with your emotions, right? So in other words, you don't want to make decisions based on your emotions. You don't want to get into a frenzy with all this eclipse energy and just randomly do things for the sake of doing things. I always talk about how to make moves. We don't want to make lateral moves that take us left, right, or even backwards. We're here to play chess, not checkers. We need to be selective in where we put our energy and how we make our moves. So if your emotions are in check, you have a much better chance of making the right move. You don't want to be in a panic mode. Now let's take a look at Thursday. Relinquish self-importance. Okay, so it's not just about me, right? In other words, everybody has a different battle. Let's see. Page of Swords. Here's the thing about the Page of Swords. This is an energy of spying or observing. If you're putting a lot of your energy into other people, other people's problems, other people's healing, what they should or shouldn't do, remember the line I always use, don't should on anyone. I know that sounds like another word, but don't should on anyone because people are going to do what they think and feel is best. You're not going to be able to change that. When we focus on ourselves and our own energy, then, things will align a lot better. So to take it back to what this card said about not taking things personally, as in if someone doesn't have the capacity, you know, to give, we take it personally. We say, why? Like, why me? Why? And we try to convince the other person to love us, to be there for us, to reciprocate. I don't know, whatever it is. You know, watching others or focusing on their situation doesn't help anything. So if you want to focus on the me, then do it in a way that is for self-healing, not opening up old wounds of abandonment or past traumas, triggers, and hurts, because it's really not going to bring you the things that you need. Okay, let's take a look at Friday. And we have here the Knight of Cups. Okay, so speak with integrity, open your heart. This is about offering a cup of love even, if this is romantic for you. You know, opening your heart to a person, even more so maybe. Hard to do for a lot of people. But what choice do we have is what I always say. Okay, realize the power of your word on Saturday. Queen of Pentacles, we have counterparts here. Queen of Pentacles is about stability. She loves her family and home, but she also likes nice things. She's generous. She's stable. She's not bothered, okay? So in other words, the power of your word. If you tell yourself that you're stable, you're happy, issues are resolved, you know, you're basically giving yourself a solid foundation. Now, I want to remind you something. Your words have to match your energy. If they don't match, you're not manifesting what you want. You can use all the affirmations you want in the world. You have to wholeheartedly believe in them. And that's difficult for people, right? But that takes time and that takes consistency. And that's how you build the stability. Now let's take a look at Sunday. And we have here the Tower. Love and nurture your body. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're not being good to yourself, and that is a definition that is very broad, being good to yourself. But if you're not taking care of yourself or putting yourself first, how will you ever take care of someone else? And if you're overgiving, overdoing, and problem solving and not taking the time you need to be good to yourself, you will have a Tower moment. And I talk about this all the time, especially in women. It starts around the age of 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85. The reason why is because we either address something or we don't. If we didn't address or partially addressed what was happening around 35, it will pop back up a decade later, and so on and so forth. So putting yourself first, you know, what does that even mean? That means setting boundaries, not allowing the bad behavior, not allowing people to take advantage over and over and over again. It means, you know, the ability to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you with this project. I'm sorry, I don't have the capacity right now to be there for you, or whatever. And I know we feel guilty, you know, but as my mother would say, only you can make yourself feel guilty. If you're putting yourself first, you're doing something right. Okay, don't let anybody tell you that that's selfish. It's important that you love and nurture your body, right? Always do your best. You can only do your best. But if you resist, you will get a Tower moment, and that Tower moment will force you. That will force you to change. You know, for me, it was, you know, the end of my marriage, my divorce, which I'm very lucky was amicable. However, many people will have breakups, divorces, health crisis, loss of a loved one, an accident. You know, we don't wish for any of these things, but when we're not listening to the universe or being tapped on the shoulder to make some moves, the universe has a way of making it happen, whether we want it to or not. It gives us what we need, not what we want. Okay, and that sneak peek at the following week, the Wheel of Fortune. Beautiful. Seek to know the truth. Things are shifting. And I always say, don't fight the shift. Holy shift, right? I mean, we can make all the shift jokes possible here. But this is about growth, expansion, and good luck. Okay, let's take a last oracle card for each day. I know I've been talking very deeply today, but that's okay. Maybe we need these deep messages. So on Monday, you're divinely guided. Everything's going to be okay. You have to believe that. Your balance here, you've got to challenge the status quo. Okay? You've got to rise above. There's changes happening, and it's okay to change. Third eye is your intuition. Trust it. A lot of people have difficulty knowing the difference between their intuition and anxiety. The King of Cups here is saying, yes, take inspired action. Follow your heart. You know, the longest journeys from the head to the heart. Brain and heart coherence is extremely important in development and moving ourselves forward. Now is the time. Now that Page of Swords, spying or observing, exactly, be in the present moment. You know, I almost feel like to some extent, some of you may be sort of like metaphorically kind of like spying into the past, feeling nostalgic, craving the old. But you can't recreate that. You can visit the past, you can't live there. And you wouldn't want to recreate those old times, even though you think you might. And the reason why is because you don't want to go back to a time just before, you know what, hit the fan. Because you'd have to go through that again. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't ever want to go through what I went through again. I have learned enough of those lessons that I do not want to be in that energy again. Not even for those moments or those memories that were before the change in my life. I can look at them fondly. I'm thankful for them. They've given me an absolutely amazing platform. I mean, I had no idea that I would end up in this position, you know, after being a high school teacher of 19 years and on a different path. And all of a sudden now I'm doing things I never thought possible. I'm working with this beautiful online family that I have here with you. By the way, thank you so much for those birthday wishes the other day. It's unbelievable to me how this could all have come to fruition, to have such lovely thoughts and messages sent my way on my birthday. Thank you, thank you, thank you again for your kindness and your support. But this energy is encouraging us to be in the present moment, which I know is super hard because we either want to be in the future asking who, what, when, where, why, and how, and trying to control the outcome, or we're trying to go back to a time that just doesn't exist anymore, an old story. So you need to sort of be in lighter energy and in more present energy. And let's take a look at this Friday, that Knight of Cups, opening your heart. Well, there's the moon again. You know, it's interesting. We're going to be feeling this full moon energy for quite a while. I mean, eclipse energy is unstable. Yeah, it's chaotic. It brings things to light, but it also, you know, helps us purge, especially on a full moon, right? New moons are all about manifestation and new beginnings, and full moons are about purging, surrendering, and letting go. So whatever you may have been experiencing throughout the week, as you get to the end, you're going to realize all the things that really you've encountered and maybe learned, and will purge and surrender more. Now on Saturday, we have here the geese. You're on a quest. You might even be thinking about relocating, whether that's a job or a home, but you want to know where you're going. And in order to do that, you have to create stability. And that's what I was talking to you about earlier. And the Tower here, look, you've got to find your balance again. The Tower moment happens because of imbalance. So in other words, you know, for your well-being, you've got to take care of yourself. Find that balance, that equal giving and receiving. And that sneak peek at the following week, again, the moon. The High Priestess, signs and synchronicities. I just want to remind all of you, and you know I talk about this all the time, that you have to be careful with signs and synchronicities because a lot of the times they can pull you backwards instead of forward. You know, we start attributing angel numbers to a specific person or a situation, but in reality, those angel numbers are nudging you, telling you you're on the right path. 111, new beginnings. You know, 222, we're building something. 333, we're learning lessons. This is master teacher. 444, angels are with you. 555, big changes ahead. 6s are all about balance, right? Equal giving and receiving, you know, and so on and so forth until we get to 10 where we have completion of a cycle and we're ready to start something new again, you know. But you've got to be able to trust yourself, and you got to be very careful. Whenever you're trying to move yourself forward, that's when you're being tested. That's when people are trying to pull you backwards, okay? So that being said, let's take some Power of Surrender cards before we go today, just to see what we need to surrender or surrender to. And we have surrender to the wisdom of your body. There you go. Listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you're energized and happy, move forward. Always listen to your body. Trust yourself. I mean, that's a very important question I ask people all the time. You know, do you trust yourself? Okay. Surrender fear. If we only knew what was on the other side of fear, you know? You wouldn't believe the fear I had leaving my marriage because it was my comfort zone. You know, you wouldn't believe the fear I had when I left my teaching career and I wanted to go and do this full time, but I've never looked back. You know, I recognized that I had to take that risk in order to get the reward. Let go of the fearful stories you're telling yourself. Stay in the moment, focus on solutions, and celebrate every baby step forward. And let's see. Surrender obsessive thinking. If you're obsessing about a person or situation, turn the dilemma over to spirit. Doing so will help bring you clarity or even solve the problem. Well, I really hope this reading resonated with you. As always, thank you so much for your kindness and support. I would really appreciate the like, the comment, the subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm and for people to find my videos. If you'd like to do a personal reading with me, the link is in my bio. If you'd like to join us for the full moon Zoom Monday night at 6 p.m., you're all welcome to join. The link is in my bio. Thank you very much, and I wish you an amazing full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces and a wonderful week.